Hello everybody, it's Mimberly and welcome back to Spell Candles. So we're playing the demo at the moment. This is currently still on Kickstarter. We're actually really close to the goal to get this a full-fledged game. I've pledged support to it and I really hope that the last video I convinced you guys to do it too. But honestly, this game has got so much potential and I had to split this into two separate parts. But I've been really eager to play this game again. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. The music was much louder inside, accompanied by the smells of various sizzling meats and the bright light of hanging chandeliers. Also, my reading is getting a lot better, so I'm happy about that. Water, earth, and deaf elves moved around in wild circular dances, dressed in such finery that I found myself thankful that the Terror had interfered on my behalf at the store earlier. Hi. Though I spot him in the room, I find that he's engaged in conversation with some senators from our empire, full goblet in hand. A few paces away from him, my eyes meet the infamous crimson hues of the general, who seems to have stopped whatever he was doing to size up my outfit. Irritation bubbles up in my throat, and I find myself quickly pivoting towards the drinks table. A large wine fountain, adorned with lit silver candles, quickly catches my eye, and a polite elf pours me a goblet upon noticing my approach. I take the cup with a smile, but I am momentarily distracted from drinking. I hear a series of loud gasps echoed from somewhere before a slick, tangible voice cuts through the music like a hot knife through butter. I told the pirate lord that if he's not willing to go to war for my love, he doesn't deserve me. And then I sank his ship at the bottom of the bay. That's a bit morbid. A series of excited whispers and murmurs follow the ridiculous explanation, carrying the electric atmosphere that supports all forms of gossip mongering. Momentarily distracted, I can't help but search for whoever is the source of this ambience. Frankly, even if my sister and brother were on the marriage market, I doubt they'd be able to impress. Then again, feel free to bring it up with stepmother dearest. I'm sure she'll be thrilled to finally get a morsel of attention. Jesus. My feet move automatically as if charmed by scandal, carried within every sentence of whoever is speaking. I feel like I know who's coming. I feel like it's the mermaid guy. I think he's a mermaid. I could be wrong though. I find I am led into a section of the embassy floor, transformed into a lounge by large chases, silk curtains, and burning incense. Many gorgeous elves are powled on top of comfortable pillows, lazing around in eye-catching outfits. Yet when my eyes land on the male, sprawled in the dead center of his crowd, I find myself suddenly flustered. Yep. I knew it. I'm going to quickly hide my webcam so you guys can see this properly. But yeah. Look at the artistic work on this work of art. Good lord. Call me seduced. I'm seduced. Everything about this man makes me want to do double and triple takes. The long hair, glistening in the candlelight as if wet, the bright pink makeup, the outfit that I'm sure would look unseemly on anyone else in such a formal environment. Whoever he is, he commands the space behind these curtains as though he owns it. And he might as well, considering the way the hungry gazes of his entourage follow each breath he takes. No, sweetheart, no matter how much money your father offers her family as a dowry, trust me, she won't marry you. He sounds so utterly bored with the topic that I almost believe that he isn't reveling in this attention he's receiving. His large smile says otherwise. Everyone knows that marrying for love is far superior to marrying for money. His gaze landed on me and his smile widened. Wouldn't you agree? I can definitely say that. The pool of attention was dropped upon me so suddenly that I found myself desperate to get rid of it. Marriage for money is better, marriage for love is better. I don't believe in marriage. I'd rather not give opinions on other people's relationships. Can't people have both? Well, I'm going to be very blunt. Marrying for money for me is a huge no-no. If you happen to be marrying somebody who is rich and you genuinely love them, then it is a, oh, okay, great, I got both worlds situation, but I've always said that marriage for love is a million times better. See, my darling, there is no market value one can name when it comes to the hand of another in eternal matrimony. That is, if love truly grips them both. A breathy chuckle escapes the beautiful man before me, his gaze still on me with such intensity that I actively have to remind myself not to fidget. Did his eyes just gleam? It seems this foreigner is already more intelligent in the matters of the heart than you are, Leopold. I feel myself wince as a fierce glare is directed my way by the Leopold in question. Perhaps they're also interested in matters of the flesh as well. Oh, good lord. If I was walking when I'd heard that comment directed my way, I'd have tripped. How entirely inappropriate. His heterochromic eyes slide over my form. The retort I'd planned never leaves my mouth. You're just my type. Thank you? Excuse me? His bold proclamation wipes the remark clean from memory, and I can only stare at him, completely dumbfolded. My cheeks flush as he spreads 2 fingers in front of his lips. Feel free to stop by my room later. I highly doubt that would be a Aqua of the Elves. Oh, the general's got to come in and ruin the moment. My embarrassment is quickly swept under the rug, the attention of the room instead drawn to the general who'd moved in front of me. His demeanour remains as cold as always. Oh. Oh dear. When 2 people start fighting over you, you're like, oh shit, so someone's gonna go down. Ah, the Shadow Master. The beautiful man before me finally moves to stand in front of us. I had an inkling that the male before me had to be influential, but had I just been propositioned by the aspect of water? My brain blanched as I pondered how to put that down in my journal. I've heard a lot about you. The Aqua did a quick circle of the general, eyeing him with unabashed curiosity. The man without a heart, was it? Care to dispel that rumour? Ignoring the bold flirtation of the demigod before him, the general's crimson eyes glanced in my direction briefly. I asked you to refrain from distracting our Bellfire-mandated political journalist from doing her job. I found myself stiffening upon hearing the mention of the Ares Empire's grand capital. Aqua's attention slid over me again, lingering on the authorized notebook I was given to put my notes down. I make no promises. It's a festival, General. Relax. He waved an ambiguous hand dismissively. In fact, he raised his voice in a way that carried his words around the room. I propose a toast. Oh, God. Another goblet of wine is pushed into my hand by a servant so quickly that I suspect the Aqua of the Elves has a habit of making toasts. Though the room is buzzing with excitement, it is quiet enough to hear a pin drop. Besides me, I noticed the general give an Aqua a withering glare. To the Ares Empire, who has stood behind us for thousands of winters. He raised a silver goblet into the air. May our festival once again nourish the millennium-old alliance between our 2 nations so that we may stand together against the coming horrors anew in 8 months. Prost. A blink as the word is echoed around the room and everyone erupts into cheers before drinking from their cups. Do we want a drink? I guess. I take a sip of the wine and I am thrown off by the dry, slightly salty taste it carries. I glance around the room to see if anyone shared my reaction, but it seems I'm alone in my confusion. The festivities around me have resumed in full force, with the swell of flutes leading most elves that were gathered around Aqua into an unfamiliar folk dance. They bounce around the room in couples, laughing and dragging the occasional senator into their steps. It's wild and lively, and ethical to the festivals we hold back at Bellfire. It's an acquired taste. The wine, I mean. Soft grape, they call it in Amor. Hi, Tara. A familiar voice comes from behind, and as I turn, I come to face with the giant frame of the elves, Tara. Long time no see, princess. He's called me princess? Oh, okay. It's good to see you as well, Tara. Planning to take Aqua up on his offer? Oh, God. Okay. It takes me a second to clue into what's happening. It seems word travels faster than wine in the elven capital. I will be doing my job. Thought so. A part of me wanted to ask him what he meant, considering that smile, but I find my attention occupied by Aqua. He led a complex folk dance with easy confidence, his long hair swaying behind him, a mesmerizing head of the revelry. Our stoic general followed through the motions behind him as though he'd done this many times before. He looks like he'd have more fun cleaning bird shit. I stifle a laughter behind a hand and glance up at the shrugging demigod. Am I wrong now? Oh, okay, right. I'm starting to think this is like a relationship situation. So the question is, who are we let's say, obviously this is going to be a demo, right? But I'm thinking in my head, which character would I want to go for? Because I don't know. Do we want to defend the general or do we want to agree with Tara? I could always do multiple playthroughs of this. That's the thing. I could always do multiple. I'm going to... Hold on. I don't know which one I clicked. The journey to Omnis has been long. It's possible that the Shadow Master is simply tired. Oh, we defended the general. The Terror raises an eyebrow at me, and I can tell he sees right through my nonsense of a political excuse. His gaze shifts behind me, and I follow it to a lone figure leaning against a wall beside the embassy's entrance. Oh! My guide from earlier. With his hood down, I'm startled to see a pair of long lupine ears shifting on the top of his head. Mors Mortius, the aspect of death, the last demigod of the waking elves. Oh. He's watching the dance unfolding around the embassy floor, but seems to be restraining himself from joining it. Terra nudges me with his elbow. You can invite him to a dance, you know. I'm startled by the suggestion. You know the steps, don't you? I nod slowly. I wouldn't be allowed on this job if I didn't. Well, what are you waiting for? I blink at Tara's words and suddenly feeling encouraged to try... something new. Yeah. What's not new is me yawning mid-bloody sentence. Oh, you dick. Pick the general, pick Aqua, pick Mors Mortius, or pick Tara. This could be a great feature to put into the journalistic piece after I get home. Well, I don't know what I want to do. Pick the general! The Tara tilts his head at me, his eyes glimmering gold as he notices the subject of my gaze. Bold. I'm almost jealous that he's the reason for all this fearlessness in you. I don't know what you're talking about. Come on. Before I can protest, my cup has been handed off to someone else and I'm dragged to the hub of all attention by the Androsphinx. I watch the general's eyes narrow at something the terrorist said and shift to me before he takes my hand and drags me to the front of a completely different dance line. Oh god. His eyes flint between the terror and the aqua, and I process the emotions on his face. Aggression, ambition, competitiveness. Whatever the demigod of Earth has said, it was clearly a challenge to the Shadow Master's reputation. I watched him take a deep breath and exhale as he led our line of dancers through the steps of the traditional dance from our homeland with grace. He moved carefully, like a raven, but with the poise of an adder. While I know I'm the focus of your your peace. I'm not sure you need to observe me as closely as you are right now, Mimberly. What if I want to? You should be like the mice, skittering in the corners of rooms, taking in the morsels of information you get by observing those around you. Instead, you've somehow done the opposite, and we've been in Omnus for less than 4 hours. It is baffling. I feel the blood rushing to my face. I keep my tone calm as I respond, and you think I did that on purpose, or even mice are social creatures, General? Even the mice are social creatures, General. They are, but not with cats. My eyes shift to the Aqua and Terra, who are leading their line of officials over chases, the pair of them laughing. If the aspects really are as bad as you say they are, why do we ally with them? His silence stretches out over enough beats to make me believe I've left him speechless. But surely enough, as I look at him, I catch furrowed brows and frown, an untold secret on his lips that he refuses to share. The current song comes to an end, and a cello replaces the flute as the leading instrument. Percussion begins pounding through the air, stirring the adrenaline in my body. A customary theme to Quillan Galar and its elves. And we had to take dance lessons before leaving on this political mission, so I know the movements pretty well. I catch the General glancing my way as I look down at my feet as we hop through the steps. The beat goes faster, the instruments playing louder, buffeting my ears as the Shadow Master's movements match the new speed. I follow through as he leads through the room, only to land us in front of the smiling Terra and Aqua, who dip their heads under the grip of the General and I. As is customary for this dance, we have to raise our conjured hands and hold them tighter, so the entire line of dancers, led by the elven leaders, passes before us. Smile back at the Terra and Aqua, or focus on the steps of the dance. Oh, okay. I'm gonna smile at them. I'm gonna be nice. I return the Terra's smile with one of my own as he barely fits his ginormous torso between our outstretched hands. I didn't think I needed this moment of breathless chaos to allow me to remember to have fun, and yet as the bystanders begin clapping in the rhythm of the song I know, I'm grinning. The meter of this tune is terribly infectious. It makes my pulse jump and my blood and body feel electrocated. Just a few more beats. A couple of skips. 1, 2, 3. A laugh, a breath, a leap, all mine. The song comes to an end, replaced by loud applause and cheers which I join in on. I turn to face the General, finding him clapping half-heartedly as he's eyeing me. Maybe it shows on my face, the rude way I want to snap and ask him, "What?" because he graces me with a small smirk. It makes him look roguishly handsome in a way that punches me in the stomach. Any journalist serious about their job would already be resting right about now, or preparing for tomorrow's Dread Festival opening ceremony. He's not breathless like me, and there isn't a single drop of sweat visible on his brow. It's infuriating. He lifts a hand towards me, and my heart ceases its movement as if by his command. The consequences of my earlier boldness. The shadows of the room darken. His eyes spark, or maybe catch the light. Their crimson brought out in a way that makes me freeze. No. No. All this freedom today had made me lower my guard. But my life was an exclusive prerogative granted to me by the Empire. By its Emperor and Generals. Journalists are exempt from the obligations of war if they serve their country through text, and I should have been doing my job. I should have been a mouse. I should have quietly stood at a corner, put ink on paper. Focus, Mimberly. Oh. He's getting closer! Ah! He taps my forehead with a singular knuckle, and I recalled how to breathe. I feel the cold sweat of terror on the back of my neck as I watch him furrow his brows and pull away from me. You're not getting sick, are you? I blink at the question and realise my hands are shaking. I don't know what I look like to my superior, but based on his confusion, I am visibly shaken. I'm fine. Your pallor says otherwise. The more I observe this man, the more I wonder how he doesn't have frown lines. He searches my face. I'm not sure for what, but he turns abruptly away from me. Rest. Do not make me repeat myself a third time. Of course, Shadow Master. As I turn on my heel and make my way up to my room, I can't help wanting to rest my fist into his face. My mind is running wild with thoughts, my breathing somehow steady despite my feelings. The artwork in this game is phenomenal. I can't get over it. I quickly reach my room. Don't know why I'm reaching into my room. I'm going into my room. The inside is small but luxuriously furnished, showing off what I already knew, that the Ares Empire spared no expenses for his diplomats. I find myself glaring at the unnecessary mahogany. Hold on, I need more coffee. Bear with me. God, I needed coffee then. The redundant occupant of the ensuite bathroom with the heated floors and scented soaps. I sigh as I sink into my bed, journal in hand, pushing my annoyance aside, my thoughts drift, taking me through the day. So far, I found Omnis to be charming. The interconnectedness of all the elven races in Omnis is reminiscent of our Bellfire. There is an inherent kindness that perhaps stems from the excitement over the festivities. It is chaotic, wild, and in some ways, similar to our holidays back home. Or the memories of hundreds of lost ones spurs on a camaraderie between the waking elves and the artisans. I take a moment to ponder how I feel after the long day I've had, and find that my latest hours stick out as a journey of emotions. Agreeing to come here had been a risk. But maybe, just maybe, the trouble would be worth it. Next, I found myself focusing on the welcome festivities I'd just been a part of. They were quite the special experience. The winters our Eastern continent experience are mere myths to the rest of the known world. They are harsh, filled with horrors of mind and body. We lose too many good people to these wars every year. And yet, within the artisan embassy of Omnis, the evening before the Dread Festival, we are welcomed with open arms by our elven comrades in arms. We find hope in breaking bread and sharing wine. We laugh, smile, and choose to live on. Persistent despite the abominations in our recent memories. It was a heartwarming sight of an alliance forged over millennia of joint suffering. I find myself smiling when I think of Terra, Aqua, Mortius, or the General. It's gotta be the General. Most diplomats usually deal in smiles and not in secrets, yet our General is both a politician and an assassin. His presence at this year's Dread Festival demands respect. His scarred, rugged appearance and his pointed crimson gaze carry the essence of war, of home. Though we may never know our Shadow Master's true last name, his loyalty to the Empire is one thing we can always be certain of. It shows that dominance can be displayed through both words and actions. Perhaps the weeks of travel were finally getting to me. I put away my journal and try to get some rest. To survive in the Ares Empire, you need to love it, or you need to be very good at pretending to do so. The delegation was ready to depart to the Central Plaza at 8:30 AM sharp. Systemized like apothecary bottles, not a single soul dared to be laid under this general scrutiny. As if yesterday's chaotic revelry was a dream we'd all conjured up in our sleep. But the outfit on my body was proof enough, considering I had nothing else decent to wear. The elven diplomats meant to escort us to the location of the Dread Festival's opening ceremony arrived at exactly 7:35. The Shadow Master greeted them. After finishing the steaming contents of his cup, bid they lead the way. I soon found myself uncertain as to why all of this posturing was necessary. The Central Plaza of Omnis is exactly a 3-minute walk away from the embassy. Oh, that's so pretty. Though we are early to the ceremony, the open space is packed with elves of various elemental inclinations and ages. 7 large stone coffins held together with heavy locks and star mail chains lay arranged in a neat line in the heart of the square. A giant cauldron of bubbling wax levitates peacefully above each one, and I quickly spot the 7 lit silver candles held together by Mortius. Though Terra and Aqua are nowhere to be found, the aspect of death seems to personally be attending the festival's preparation. He appears calm as he runs his finger over the flames of the braziers heating the cauldrons, earning excited whispers from the gathered elves and senators. I find myself wondering if it hurts, or if he's touched fire so many times he's grown numb to it. For a second, his eyes meet mine across the field as our delegation steps forward to our designated area. Smile or not, I'm going to smile at him. Surprise skips over his features like a pebble before sinking beneath the perfectly constructed political smile he'd offer our delegation. Or so I expected. Instead, his expression remains the same as he offers us a cold, calculated bow. Welcome, esteemed General and delegates of the Ares Empire, to this year's Dread Festival opening. Thank you, Aspect of Death, for hosting us again this year. The Shadow Master returns the sentiment with a curt bow of his own. What a lukewarm exchange. I'm not certain exactly what has happened between those two, but I do not have any time to dwell on it, for Terra and Aqua's arrival breaks the tension and turns it into chaos. It is as if wherever those two appear, the location turns into a stage set for a spectacle. A stark contrast to the elves' indifference towards Mors Mortius and the quiet curiosity about the General. I find my gaze lingering on the General. I'm going for General. If you guys want me to replay this and then go for like the other 3 characters, let me know, because I will definitely be down to do that. But this is a beautiful visual. Like, this is stunning. The artists, chef's kiss. For some reason, my gaze lands on the Shadow Master, who remains at the front of the delegation. He's holding his hands behind him, his back straight, his hair up in a tight ponytail. He was the picture of artisan structure and dominance, contained violence, controlled power. A string pulled too tall, but not the kind that belonged to on an instrument. Rather the kind that shot arrows from a bow. Esteemed guests of the Empire, allow us to once again welcome you to our lands as we commemorate the end of another winter. Terra moved to stand between the now quiet Mors Mortius. There is no greater honour for us and our people to call you and yours by the term allies. For every time we called, you have answered, and whether you've been in need, we've delivered. It is through good that we starve off evil, through your gods and ours. Listening to the eloquence of the aspect of Earth, I am quickly reminded that as the leader of the Elven City of Faith, Terra often holds the title of head of all the Elfic regions. Aqua speaks next, a hand on his heart. Our bond has lasted for millennia, a marriage against darkness. This commitment, immortalized when we sealed away the 7 Scions, will continue to hold again today. On this first dawn of the Dread Festival, we vow to once again keep them at bay. His voice pulls me towards him, like a sailor to a siren, but it is Mors Mortius' tone that brings me back. That makes me stop and listen. From flesh to wax, from wax to life. Every year, the eternal war takes from us those we hold dear. And with what is left of them, we seal away chaos, anger, harm, loneliness, sorrow, hunger, and plague, and take a breath until next winter. For it is through faith that we hold the lines, through love that we stand united, and through hope that we keep fighting. Let those we love shield us from once more from the dangers we've forgotten. Breathe in and take your time to pray. Terra's command echoes through the air, rendering the thousands of elves gathered on their knees. As per the ritual, our delegation is the first to walk up to the braziers of bubbling wax and silently thank those who gave their lives for ours. The General goes first, murmuring thank yous in both our language and that of the elves. Though I can't see his face, I find his tone to be gentler than any I had heard from him before. I go last from our delegation. I think about those I've lost over the years to this war. A deep pain grips me. I know it stems from the emptiness of what was once, but now is no more. As I reach the first cauldron, I thank the people and the elves who gave their lives for our peace in both languages. And then I move on to the next cauldron and do the same. And the next. And the next. And the next. It is considered a great honour to be able to come this close to the dead again. Once our delegation has finished paying up our respects, the elven aspects follow. The three move in perfect tandem, and by the time Mors Mortius is finished, the rest of the elven population in Omnus is already in silent tears. Poor. Mors Mortius orders after a moment of silence. The 7 cauldrons obey Mors Mortius' command, slowly moving to tip over. Wax begins hitting the coffins one by one, resealing them under the watchful eyes of the elven aspects, their people, and our delegation. Get down! Oh shit. The words shatter through the silence. I barely have time to process the familiar voice before the ground underneath my feet gives. For a second, I think I'm blind. The world has gone pitch black. I think I smelled something burning. And then daylight breaks through, bringing back my sense of sight. My knees are bleeding. I blink as I try to get my bearings, but it's as though sound has ceased to function. I make out that some of the senators lay beside me, cowering. Get up. Adrenaline pushes me back onto my feet. It is fight or flight that lets me spot the general kneeling next to where I was, and the aspects scattered about, protecting their people with their various elemental powers. The goddess of chaos has escaped. What? My eyes shoot in the direction of the pale marble coffin, the last one to be sealed, now empty. I hear murmurs and whispers from the gathered elven crowds. The words are indescribable until the general's crimson gaze sweeps across the onlookers with what can only be described as wild fury. They finally decided to conquer us, too. Betrayers. Scoundrels. My blood chills as I realize that the only possible culprits could be those close enough to the cauldrons. Oh shit. The realization seems to dawn upon the aspects at the same time because all 3 of them turn to face us. The words "seize them" suddenly sound like a phrase from a banned horror novel. The elven crowds are dispersed and told to return to their homes under curfew. Meanwhile, we are roughly pulled to a standing position in front of the aspects. While the Terra and Aqua's expressions are unreadable, Mors Mortius looks dangerously calm. General, give us one reason why we mustn't light your delegation and send you back to the Emperor to announce the dissolution of our alliance. You have no proof. I find this man's ability to remain an egotistical bastard, even when standing before 3 demigods, almost attractive. Almost. Did nobody else stand close enough to the braziers in order to tamper with them? The general falls silent and I realize exactly what he's saying. I see Mors Mortius' expression turn murderous as he reaches to the same conclusion. My thoughts suddenly dim as a primal existence fear of death sinks its claws into my back. How dare... Let's hold an investigation then. Aqua's smile is nonchalant, but something in his tone gives me pause. Mors Mortius' eyes narrow on the demigod of water. Everyone present is a suspect. I don't know why the 3 unitary demigods suddenly look so divided. Terra, much to my surprise, is frowning, his tail flicking around, his arms crossed in front of his chest. Very well. Mors Mortius' 4 jade eyes wander between the members of our delegation and the surrounding guards before landing on the general. Name your investigator, Shadowmaster. You get 1 and only 1. Mimberly. What? Yeah, that would be my same reaction. I jump to my feet as all eyes turn to me. I'll do it. Oh, shit, I went too far. Ah! I've done a thing. Right, hold on. I catch a glimmer in Terra's gaze as none of the aspects argue the general's choice. Aqua's smile widens as I find myself looking away, needing to escape all this attention. The festival lasts 7 days. This is how long you have to get your truth. Oh. I'm just saying, this is gorgeous. We're going to look at that in a minute because I feel like we could use that. But, the unspoken, if you fail, remains a silent implication that hangs over my head like a guillotine for the next week. Day 1. I return to my room and find that my fingers are gripping my journal so hard that they're shaking. I have to get it together. Desperately. I can sense how overwhelmed I am with fear. Had it been winter, I likely would have already turned into some mindless ghoul and fallen prey to the sword of a soldier. I take in a deep breath and then exhale. I repeat these simple motions several times until my brain has enough oxygen to function again as it should. Who do I investigate? Who do I investigate? Well, we seem to be focusing on the general for at least this episode, so let's just stick to the general. Your summons for the general go unanswered. He appears to be busy. Who do I investigate? Well, never mind then. Let's go Mors Mortius, I guess. My head feels like it's swimming as I attempt to piece everything together. Nothing makes sense. There is still too much information I lack, and too little time I have to figure this out. Oh my god. Sorry guys. I promise I did sleep last night. I feel restless, the squeezing of my stomach from nerves doubled by the rapidly growing hunger for something more serious than a cup of tea. It forces me out of my chair and to my door. With the amount of stress I'm under, if I don't eat anything, I might fall sick. Then I'd really have doomed us all. A light meal would have to suffice. Oh, hello. I pull in the door open. I find myself staring back at two pairs of surprised green eyes. The aspect of death, one dark hand pulled into a fist, seems to have just been about to knock. Instead, he clears his throat and hides his hand back under his long cloak. I've come at a bad time. He steps back, serene, entirely different from the previous burning display of anger at the city square. It's all right, Notra. I was about to step out for lunch. I see. Then I won't keep you with my presence. That won't work for me. I desperately need answers. Would you like to join me for lunch? Oh, actually, if it isn't entirely too bold of an invitation, considering the difference in our stations, you could join me? This way we won't waste time. Four green eyes blink at me and then scan me from top to bottom with distrust. For lunch? Whatever he sees in my following little nod seems to melt away his suspicions, replacing them with curiosity instead. He motions for me to walk ahead, and I do just that. A polite silence blanketing the space between us as we make our way into the embassy's canteen. It is a small but well-decorated place with 3 rotating tables covered in banquet-style dishes for self-service. One tall window allows for daylight to enter and envelop the whole room. When I move to sit into one of the comfortable wooden chairs, Mors Mortius is quick to pull it from behind me, surprising me as he pushes it underneath me after. Would you be comfortable with having me sit beside you, or would you prefer to have me seated across? The question puzzles me as I catch Mors Mortius once again scanning my face, searching for who knows what as I shrug. Sit wherever, Notra. We are in your city. And in your embassy, investigator. Do not investigate, and do not forget that. I blink as he takes a seat beside me and lowers his hood. The eyes on his cheekbones scan through the dishes on display. Ask away. So I do just that. Who do you think is responsible for the incident? The aspect of Death's expression remains unreadable. His eyes flicker away. A shadow falls across his face, and I know that he's thought on this already. For some reason, however, he refuses to share. His silence lasts long enough that I'm inclined to write down and refuses to respond in my journal. I pick up my chopsticks and take a couple of quick bites of the pickled carrots as I consider a follow-up on the lack of reply. Should I assume by your silence that you know who is to blame? No. I can speculate, but it will do nothing but draw suspicion to others who may not be truly be the culprit. I feel grip my quill harder. First he forces me to investigate his problem for him. Then he refuses to help me. What a frustrating character. So he refused to share anything that could be potentially useful. Mors Mortius sighs and a large tail rustles against the floor. Your definition of help and mine differ. Your investigation will give you too many threads to follow. All suspects will give you information, but some of it may be twisted in a way that is false. Furthermore, everyone is likely currently suspicious of everyone else, and that will cause disagreements and confusion. To be successful, an investigator should get to know everyone while being impractical. It's why I think you're perfect for this task. And if I fail, I die. What an honor. There are elements to everyone's behavior that can be dubious. Even mine, I'm sure. At this point, almost anyone can be blamed for what happened. Was the ritual tampered with? Yes. How? Mors Mortius' eyes fall on the empty plate in front of me. There were runic configurations on the inside of the cauldron. I blink in surprise. Runes are ancient symbols imbued with magic, most commonly used for spellcasting. But runic is a dead language. Is anything truly dead if memory of it still lingers? The aspect of death rotates the traditional table English! This aspect of death rotates the traditional table such that the vegetable dishes face us rather than the meat-centric ones. Either this man is a vegetarian, or he has an astounding insight into those around him. I thank him and quietly pass some pickled vegetables onto my plate, pondering his last words. When I look back at him, I notice his eyes have sharpened and his bustling tail has frozen in place, as if he's listening for something I can't hear. His eyes on his cheekbones have shifted their attention elsewhere. His features soften after a split second and he turns his full focus back to me. You're not going to eat? I can pretend to consume food if that would make you touch yours. Are you not hungry? I have no appetite after this morning. Too many eyes narrowed in a way I don't like. I pick up my chopsticks, attempting to be casual with my following question as I place a piece of some pickled green tomato in my mouth and make an effort to chew. It's delicious, quite likely because I am terribly hungry despite the nerves that refuse to settle in my stomach. Do you truly believe the culprit is from our delegation? An uncomfortable pause stretches between us as I swallow and watch him frown. The opening ritual of wax has been performed for almost 2 millennia and there has never been an issue. He sounds almost resigned as he answers. It seems that when it comes down to this investigation, he's a closed book. The only differential factors every year are the guests then. He nods, and I find myself begrudgingly agreeing with his logic, but there is a flaw within it. If the guests every year are different, there shouldn't be anyone from our delegation who knows where to find all the tools needed in 12 hours to tamper with your ritual. My words earn a quiet nod, but there is something uncertain about it that spurs me on. His eyes attain a sparkle that speaks to me. I'm missing something. But what? The truth hits me so suddenly that I want to vomit. An accusation that, if made within the walls of the Ares Empire, could end with my death at the very least. I find my hands shaking as I try to figure out a way to put thoughts into ink without securing my own legally sanctioned murder. The generals are reoccurring guests. The Shadow Master had attended the Dredge Festival many times before, and his speed and agility were legendary. The source of increased battlefield morale of many Eurasian families, their armies. Perhaps porridge would be better on your empty stomach? I exhale and nod, but make no move to serve myself any, my fingers still frozen from thoughts inspired by unspoken truths. Did you notice anything unusual happening in the hours before the incident? Hours is a very broad amount of time. But yes, many things caught my attention. For one, my invisibility cloak has disappeared. The joke is on my tongue, but I resist interrupting, stamping it down like any other intrusive thought. I couldn't complete my afternoon patrol yesterday because I was saving a soul in distress from sudden rain. I feel his eyes linger pointedly on me as I write that down. And the dead. Their immortal souls were restless. He frowns, his ears twitching. Even still, their bones seek to leave their graves through their flesh has been cleaved and turned to wax. How can you tell? I can see them, hear them, feel them, talk to them. His gaze shifts briefly to something above my shoulder, and I follow his gaze but spot nothing. A sigh escapes him before his gaze turns to the table and the food before me, but I'm not sure I have the stomach for anything after that conversation. I must, however, persevere. When did your invisibility cloak disappear? Yesterday, after I left my house. What time was that around? I tend to lose track of time. It was still dark outside, so that was in the early hours of the morn. Somewhere around 5 a.m. based on notched path through the sky. And when did you return to find it missing? 10 p.m. A quarter hour before that, perhaps. That's a large gap of time. I know where I placed it when we returned from winter, and it isn't there. Where do you usually place it? On the hanger besides the antidote rack. You can stop by when you have the time and I'll show you what I mean. You want me to stop by your house? I'm a sheep and wolf's clothing investigator. My comparates will confirm if you only ask them. You can bring someone with you if you're not comfortable, of course. I nod slowly, noting the opportunity in my journal. I should leave you to the pleasures within the plates. I barely had a moment to blink as the aspect of death rose from his chair and put his hood back on. No, I still gotta ask more questions! His cloak carried behind him a scent of fallen autumn leaves and burning candles. He hadn't had a bite or a sip as he made his way to the door. His eyes flickered once again to me and then behind me. Something of a smile crossed his lips. Remember, be a rat, not a lamb. The less meat on the bones, the less satisfying the prey. He closes the door behind him with a soft click, and again, I can't tell if he's trying to piss me off or is genuinely attempting to be helpful. Who do I investigate next? Ooh, let's investigate Aqua. I wasn't sure if it was because Morris Mortius had called everyone present a suspect, but I found myself diligently studying Aqua as he sat on a chair in front of my word desk. A very ornate chair that hadn't been there until right before I asked for the aspect of Walter to stop by for questioning. It was carved of some expensive wood, packed with comfortable cushions and sparkled with pearls of various colours and sizes. A perfect seat for the man who lounged on top of it, as if he was king of the world. Legs crossed, chin propped up on one hand, he offered me a lazy smile that made something in my chest twist. He was perhaps the most beautiful man I'd ever seen. It was annoying to no end. Should I summon a painter? You seem so fond of staring. My cheeks flushed and I cleared my throat. Glancing down at my journal, I find it logical I started off by asking him the following questions. Right, okay, I am going to go and make another drink because I'm doing a lot of talking and my throat is screaming, so one moment. Okay guys, right, I'm going to have to actually leave this episode here because I've just seen the time and I've got to make a few calls ready for my tattoo appointment next week because the Mephisto tattoo will be finished on the 26th. So I got to go ahead and get some stuff sorted for that. So I'm going to unfortunately leave this episode here, but I will come back with an episode 3 to get this demo finished. I'll try to get it done before the Kickstarter has finished, but if you haven't already, please go check out the Kickstarter link. It's in the description and go pledge some support to it, because if we can get this game going, like if we can get this fully funded, I will do a full playthrough on this channel. Promise you.